Right, the big drill turned up. Oh, look at that fella. 25 mil of power. So give this a widening. Right, so next step, that'll need cleaning up. That needs shaping so it's a bit more beautiful than it is. Like it could be any more beautiful. Ooh. So let's see if that now fits. Lovely. Doesn't go on like that before you start. Like that. Marvellous. With about 1 mil of play. Lovely. And then that needs to be welded on there. But before that, this hole needs cleaning up. These edges need cleaning up. And a bit of rounding off to beautify them. And this needs a hell of a lot of beautifying. I don't think I've got enough life left in me to beautify that enough, but grinder out, let's get on with it. Okay, so cleaned it up on the edges. Doesn't look too bad. Got the magnet in place, going to just tack weld that, and then see how we go. But yeah, I think I want that on a bit of alley plate to try and stop it burning through. But yeah, get the weld out, stick some tacks on it. Well, that's not too bad. It's definitely overkill to hold such a small bit on, but I was going to put strengtheners coming out, but I don't think that's going to need it. It's only holding a number plate. Unfortunately my gas went at the end here, so that's all. Got some oxygen bubbles in and pitted and marked, but yeah, clean that up and job's a good one. Yep, that's not going anywhere. So yeah, clean that up. Might even cheat and put a bit of pugging across that just to tidy it up even more, but that is definitely not going anywhere, and it's only got to hold a 9x7 at most number plate until it's past the MOT, hopefully. But yes, good enough. Okay, that'll do on the grinding. I will put a slither of pug over that, I think. It is going to be on the back and pretty well hidden, but stick a little bit on there. But that is near enough that. What else we've got to do? Draw some holes through it. That size. £6mm. So I want some. No, put this away. Not bolt. So I want 4 6mm holes in it. In it, lad. Yeah, 4 6mm holes, then a bit more of a tidy up, and then a bit of pugging, and it'll be ready to. It won't be ready, will it? I think this needs cutting down there. I'll show you what I mean. Right, so that'll go on there like that, which is straight with the adjuster at the back that you can't see. Let's turn that bloody radio off. Okay, so what I'm on about is that goes on there. This line actually sits just inside the adjuster there, so that will sit flush against the adjuster, and then the washer and the nut will be this side of it. So, but if I have that like that, the angle of the dangle looks good there. Misses the exhaust, so if the exhaust comes that far down, which I don't think it's gonna, or it won't be the exhaust moving, will it be the swing arm going up? I don't think it will, but if it does, it'll miss it, hopefully. But I think because it's on the stand, the front wheel is actually sitting at the moment lower than the back wheel, so when this comes down and levels out, this will actually be at an angle like that, which I don't think is going to be enough. So I think I'm going to have to cut off an edge here to give it more of an angle. But I'll do my 6mm holes. I'll get a number plate on there, and then bring the stand down and see where it needs to be. I think that will be the plan. Right. So 6mm drill. Right, I'm just going to draw around the washer and trim that edge off, and then whatever angle I want it at, I can manoeuvre it as such. Or do I want to do that? I don't want to do that, do I? No, I think it'd be better to leave it as a straight line. Let's let the whole thing down and see where I end up. It definitely wants trimming on that back edge, and that will bring it just inside the adjuster's lip, which will give it stability, less likely to rotate. Well, if it rotates, it means my axle's coming undone, which probably ain't any good. Right, anyway, let's let that down, see where I get to. Okay, apart from it being absolutely massive, I think it wants to be angled back a bit more. Something like that, or does it want to... I'm sure he said, when I had the booster MOT'd, because I asked him about this, and the MOT guy said it needs to be facing the rear and as vertical as possible. So, will that miss the exhaust? I think I'm going to have to cut another couple of inches off the exhaust. So yeah, something like that will do. Belt that angle, so it has got a slightly upward tilt, and then need to cut that back corner off the bracket so it sits in nicely with the adjuster. Well, I'll give that cut and retry. Okay, so I've cut that at a different angle. That will sit in there like that, with that, and that, whether it likes it or not. Like that. So, I think I'm going to need to take off another 2 inches of the exhaust. What a cannibal. And then that will definitely make sure that when the swing arm comes up, it's not going to hit the exhaust. 2 inches. Let's have a measure. It's got to be at least 2 inches. So that will bring it back. Two inches would bring it all back to right, so 2 inches off the front will bring it back to there, which is a much better scenario. Yeah, so another 2 inches to come off the exhaust, which make it a right old stubby. Yeah, so that's it, isn't it? Yeah, 2 inches off of that, so that all fits and goes on there nicely. I've got to have a paint up and then set it all up, and then I've got to get the wiring for the number plate lights down. I'll probably follow the line of the electrics for the rear brake and then bring it along the hydraulic hose and join it off of that. And it wants a connector here somewhere, so anytime I want to adjust anything, it's easy to disconnect. Yeah, that's a thought for another day, but at the moment that's good angle, far enough off the floor he says. He says, then he thinks about it. What about the angle of my lean? Didn't think about that, did I? Doesn't leave me a lot. I'm going to have to take it off the ABBA Skylift and lean it over and see if that is going to impinge on my progress. Impinge? Impinge. Whether it's going to get in the way of my progress. Well, it won't get in the way very long, it'll just snap off, won't it? Yeah, right. Let's make sure. Let's take it off the Skylift and lean it over, see where we get. So let's lean this beast over and see where we get. Now let's try it with the number plate that it will be ridden with. Yeah, I think that'll be good enough. Only time will tell. Yeah, so I'm going to chalk that up as a success. That will end up on the bike, as I say, just give it a clean up, bit of pugging over them dodgy welds, tidy all that up, and at least a coat of primer today, I think, which I probably won't show you. I'm sure you don't need to watch me primering some steel, and you've seen me seen my dodgy pugging. So yeah, so yes, success. As with everything on the bike, it's I think it's going to be a non-stop project, so when it's finished and back on the road, it still won't be finished. Well, I'll say that either it'll stay on the road, or I've left this tea too long. Oh, a little bit nasty. Oh, Jesus. Whew. Don't like it when it's cold. Don't like it when it's cold. But I am thirsty. It's not thirsty. It's bloody Sunday. Sunday! Bloody Sunday! What was I waffling on about? Yeah, it might be that it stays as it is and I go on to do another project, or it'll be a combination. It'll stay on the road, and then as and when I feel like it, I'll bring it in and make things like this tidier. Now I've got an idea of how I want it, and I've proven to myself I've almost got the skills. Almost got the skills. Miles away from having the skills. I need the practice. So yeah, stuff like this will be almost definitely revisited in the future. As I say, next year the shed's getting a massive extension. It'll be this wide from here. Instead of it, this comes in, so this narrows down to about 6 foot, I think it is, and all the stuff. It's just I've got that much bench, which is very frustrating. So next year, I've started to clear the ground out there. Next year the shed is going out about 14 foot that way, and still 7 foot wide all the way down, so a massive extension. I'll be able to get the bike, whatever project bike I've got, whether I'm working on this one or even doing stuff on the Gsxr or the V-Strom, or if I do indeed get another project bike, there'll be room for the project in this area. And I'd like to get another Gsxr Skylift, and when I need to do maintenance on the other bikes, I can just bring them straight in and do the work, to the point where I can even store another one of my bikes in here rather than having two on the driveway. I'll have two in here and one on the driveway, which will be the V-Strom, because it's daily commute and it's a lot less aggravation taking a chain off and a cover off out there than undoing all the shed and back gate and all the rest of it. So that's what I'm aiming for, but that's next year. And as I say, things like this will possibly get revisited and tidied up if I don't get another project bike to start and go with. But there you go, there's some insight into next year. Have that. Back to the present. That one's a bit of pugging. Well, it wants cleaning off and then pugging. That one's leaving to set, and then it can be painted. So I'll get on with pugging that, and in a future video you'll see that pugged and primered. But there you go. There is my, get off magnet. There is my DIY bespoke number plate bracket that fits onto the axle and allows me enough lean angle on the bike. Might not allow some people, but for what that went over, that's a lot more than I'm ever going to go over. So well, it's a lot more than I go over at the moment, so good enough. Anyway, next time.